Is debt always a bad thing? Or could it actually be a secret weapon in your financial arsenal? Debt. It's a word that makes many of us shudder. It's a four-letter word that's often synonymous with stress, worry, and a feeling of being under a dark cloud. It's the monster under the bed, the elephant in the room, the specter that haunts our financial dreams. And why wouldn't it be? We've been conditioned to see debt as a negative force, a hurdle on our path to financial freedom. Picture this: you're at a party, and someone casually mentions they're in debt. Suddenly, the room goes silent, the music seems to dim, and all eyes are on this brave soul who dared to utter the D word. That's the power of societal stigma. It's a reaction that's been ingrained in us through a mix of cultural norms, family teachings, and personal experiences. We've been taught to believe that debt is a slippery slope that leads to financial ruin, that it's a trap set by cunning lenders to ensnare unsuspecting borrowers, that it's a one-way street that only leads downward. And in many cases, this can be true. Debt, when mishandled, can indeed lead to financial hardship and stress. But here's a thought to ponder. What if we've been looking at debt all wrong? What if, instead of being a financial curse, debt could be a tool, a resource, a stepping stone to greater wealth and financial freedom? Yes, it's a radical idea. It goes against everything we've been taught about money and finance. But sometimes, to make progress, we have to challenge the status quo. We have to question the accepted wisdom and explore new perspectives. So let's take a deep dive into the world of debt. Let's strip away the stigma and the fear and examine it for what it truly is: a financial tool. A tool that, like any other, can be used for good or bad, depending on how it's handled. But what if I told you not all debt is created equal? In the world of finance, debt isn't black or white. It's more of a spectrum, with good debt on one end and bad debt on the other. Now let's unpack that a bit. Good debt, as the term suggests, can be a positive tool in your financial toolbox. This type of debt is typically associated with investments that, over time, will grow in value or generate long-term income. A classic example is a student loan. Yes, it's a substantial amount of money that you owe, but it's also an investment in your future earning potential. The idea is that the degree you're financing will pay for itself many times over during the course of your career. Another prime example of good debt is a mortgage. Real estate often appreciates in value over time, and while you're paying off your mortgage, you're also building equity in a tangible asset. Plus, the interest you pay on your mortgage is often tax deductible, which is a nice bonus. On the other end of the spectrum, we have bad debt. Bad debt is generally associated with purchases that quickly lose value and do not generate long-term income. One of the most common forms of bad debt is credit card debt. With high interest rates and often no tangible assets to show for it, credit card debt can quickly become a financial black hole. Another typical culprit of bad debt is an auto loan. Cars depreciate in value the moment they're driven off the lot, and so the debt associated with them is often considered bad debt. You're essentially paying interest on an asset that's losing value at a rapid pace. But here's the catch: not all debt that depreciates in value is bad. Sometimes, taking on debt is a necessary step towards achieving a larger goal. The key is understanding the nature of your debt and making sure it aligns with your financial objectives. So if debt can be good or bad, how do we distinguish between the two? We'll dive into that in the next segment, so stick around. The key to differentiating good debt from bad debt lies in understanding the purpose behind the debt. Think of debt as a tool, much like a hammer. In the right hands, it can build a beautiful house, but in the wrong hands, it can wreak havoc. The same goes for debt. The difference between good and bad debt often comes down to how you're using it and the potential return on investment. Let's take a closer look at this concept. When you're considering taking on debt, one of the first things you should evaluate is the potential return on investment. Are you borrowing money for something that could increase in value or generate income over time? For instance, a mortgage can be considered good debt because real estate typically appreciates over time. Similarly, a student loan could be viewed as an investment in your future earning potential. But it's not just about the potential return. It's also crucial to weigh the cost of the debt, which is largely determined by the interest rate and the repayment terms. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine you're standing in a store, eyeing a shiny new gadget. You could put it on your credit card and pay it off over time. But if you've got a high interest rate and it takes you a year or two to pay it off, that gadget could end up costing you significantly more than the sticker price. That's a classic example of bad debt. Moreover, it's important to consider your ability to repay the debt. If the monthly payments are going to stretch your budget to the breaking point, or if a minor financial setback would make repayment impossible, then that's a strong sign that you're veering into bad debt territory. So to recap, good debt can help you generate income or increase your net worth over time, and you have a clear path to repayment. Bad debt, on the other hand, typically stems from spending on non-essentials or circumstances where the interest cost outweighs the potential benefit. Now that we know the difference, how can we use this to our advantage? Believe it or not, debt can be a powerful tool for building wealth if used strategically. Picture debt as a lever, much like the one Archimedes spoke of, that can move the world if positioned correctly. Let's dive into some examples of how you can use good debt to your advantage. Think about investing in education. Yes, student loans are a form of debt, but they can also be a stepping stone to higher earning potential. By strategically investing in your skills and knowledge, you're essentially betting on your future self to bring in a higher income, which will allow you to pay off that debt and then some. Another prime example is real estate. By taking on a mortgage to buy a property, you're not just acquiring debt, you're also acquiring an asset. This property can generate rental income, appreciate in value over time, and even provide tax benefits. The key is to ensure the income from the property covers the debt service and leaves you with a positive cash flow. This way, your debt is actually working for you, creating wealth over time. But let's not forget, not all debt is created equal. While good debt can be a powerful wealth-building tool, bad debt can be a wealth destroyer. Credit card debt, payday loans, and other high-interest debt can quickly spiral out of control and derail your financial goals. These types of debt often finance depreciating assets or consumables, leaving you with nothing but the bill. The trick is to be strategic and intentional with your debt. Understand the difference between good and bad debt and use it to your advantage. Don't be afraid of debt, but respect it. Treat it like fire. It can either cook your meals and keep you warm, or it can burn your house down. It all depends on how you handle it. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid debt altogether, but to use it wisely. By leveraging debt strategically, you can turn it from a foe into a friend and use it as a powerful tool to build wealth and secure your financial future. So, is debt a friend or foe? Well, it depends on how you use it. Let's take a quick trip back through our discussion. We've exploded some myths surrounding debt, illustrating that not all debt is created equal. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is an investment that will grow in value or generate long-term income. Think of a mortgage, student loans, or a business loan. These types of debt can help build your wealth over time. On the other side of the coin, we have bad debt. This is debt that doesn't increase in value or generate income. It's the high-interest credit card debt, the payday loans, the car loans. These sorts of debts are the ones you want to avoid or manage carefully. We've learned that the key to understanding and distinguishing between good and bad debt lies in the potential return on investment. Is the debt going to help you grow your wealth in the long run? Or is it just going to leave you with a mountain of interest payments and nothing to show for it? We also explored how to leverage debt for wealth building. Smart use of good debt can help you achieve your financial goals faster. For instance, taking out a loan to start a business can give you the capital you need to grow and expand. A mortgage can help you build equity in a home, an asset that generally appreciates over time. But remember, even good debt requires careful management. You need to keep an eye on your cash flow, ensure you can make the necessary payments, and always have a plan to pay off the debt in the end. In the end, debt is just a tool. It's neither good nor bad. It's all in how you use it. So use it wisely, and it can be a powerful ally in your journey towards financial freedom.